Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be. Europe, America, Africa, Eritrea, or Sudan, Ethiopia, Yemen, Gulf countries. It doesn't matter where you are. If it's afternoon with you, good afternoon, as it is with me. If it's morning, then good morning. If it's evening, then good evening. So today is the 5th of December 2019. As the year is coming to closure, there's so many things that we are facing, and I just would like to talk about a specific thing that we've been facing over the past 10 days or so, and that is the Eritrean regime targeting activists, and I think to deter their work and also to kind of intimidate people so that they won't be able to work against the regime, they won't be able to continue their activism. So it's another strategy of instilling fear into people so that people won't be able to speak out, won't be able to campaign. And this is, to be honest, the least that we could do, especially people who live in Europe. So obviously we can't face the regime face to face or in a battlefield, and I'm not someone who would advocate for military kind of intervention, because I believe both sides of the fight would be Eritreans who more or less would have nothing to do with the fight itself, but the sought for freedom. Although a lot of people who are in the regime's army are just like ordinary people who've been forced to be part of the regime. So, is targeting activists a way of deterring them from doing the work that they are doing? Of course, I'm linking this to the incidents that took place in several countries. One in London, and the target was the founder of Asana Radio and TV Broadcasting Corporation. Secondly, what happened in Ethiopia to one of the artists and singer who was attacked by 3 or 4 people when he was on his way to his house, and this happened in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. And the third one is the violence that took place in Israel. So, you know what makes me think, and also kind of makes me, it puzzles me how someone who had fled the regime as a result of the policies that this regime, if we're going to call it regime, is following, then you are becoming a supporter of that regime in the diaspora. Not only that, you are resorting to violence, attacking people who are speaking against the regime. The least that you could have done as a person who had fled the persecution that this regime is doing is just to keep quiet. That's the least that you could do. That is, if you're not speaking against it, because that is that's the mere reason you live in your country. The mere reason you are in the diaspora is because there is a regime that doesn't respect your human rights. And when you come to these countries, you are applying for asylum against this regime. So because you are asking these countries to give you asylum because you are being affected by the policies, because this government is dictatorship. And I believe that's what everyone says when they've been interviewed for the asylum process, at least in Europe. Not only in Europe, also in other countries. Because the only way for you to be granted a refugee status, to be granted asylum, is if you are under persecution. And this is the law. This is the International Convention of Human Rights, the International Convention for Refugees. So, it's a puzzle that we kind of like need to try unpack and understand, because if you are fleeing a government that's persecuting you, why would you resort to support that government later on when you get to somewhere where it's safe for you to live and practice a normal life? Why would you support? I think it's all about the psychological effect that the dictatorship had on us as people, because you don't see any perspective of continuation for this country. You don't see any prospect of this country being together, held together as one nation state with its own sovereignty, unless this regime exists. So you resort to supporting the person who's attacking you, who's forced you to flee your country, who is killing you people, who is prosecuting you people. So this is a psychological game as a result of the dictatorship trauma that we experienced throughout our life in that country. And you see, you don't find that in people who are mainly born in the diaspora. And they don't resort, one, they wouldn't really resort to violence. Secondly, if they do support, I'm not talking about resorting to violence, I'm talking about support. If they do show any sort of support to the regime, then that is as a result of their familial or parents' influence only. So because their parents are telling them that this regime is good, our country is doing well, and everything that is coming is as a result of people trying to push a foreign agenda. Like when I'm speaking, for example, now, someone would be saying, oh, he's trying to push a foreign agenda. I'm not trying to push a foreign agenda. I'm trying to push a national agenda that is the respect of human rights and the rule of law. That is the national agenda. And that should be the way the social contract between people, the people and the people in power and the people who are subjects to this power. Which means the people who are ordinary people who live in their life under that territory, within that territory, I mean. And I think, and I am quite confident, this won't deter anyone who is fighting for freedom. If you are a freedom fighter, you're prepared to say anything. You prepare to see everything. You're expecting anything from this regime. A regime that is killing people, a regime that is detaining tens of thousands of people. You'd expect anything. And I don't expect anything less. The thing is, heroism has been redefined by these people. So someone throwing egg, into someone is called a hero. How is that heroism? How is that defined as heroism? Someone who is supporting a dictator, who is a subject to a dictator, who is in fact a slave to a dictator. That is the only definition and explanation to that is slavery. You are a slave and he is the master. They are the master. The people who are sat in a mirror and telling you what to do. The people who are sat in the embassy and telling you what to do, and you are the only one who's facing the consequence of this, and you'll be left with a crime, with a criminal record that would stay in your record for the rest of your life, and you would be banned from doing a lot of works. And that I give you the glad tidings, and that would continue even if in Eritrea, because you technically, one, if this regime goes, you wouldn't have any place in Eritrea because you are considered to be a traitor to the people. You're not part of the people. You're a traitor. And if you're a traitor, don't expect anything good from the people when freedom comes and when liberty comes. Yeah? So, the few things that I want to talk about, and I want to send a few messages. One, to the people of Eritrea, who are freedom fighters, who are trying to advance the cause of human rights, the cause of justice, and the cause of the rule of law in Eritrea. These are normal actions, and we should be prepared for them, because if someone is seeing you as their enemy, don't expect anything good from them. So an enemy is an enemy regardless, but you need to be cautious. You need to be careful. You need to know who you're associating with, and you also need to know where you're going. Be vigilant when you are walking down the streets, when you're on the bus, when you're on the train, wherever you are, when you're going home. If it's too late, be careful whereabout you are, and please always have company if it's possible, especially those who don't live in Europe. It's possible to have a company around you of people whom you trust, of people who would protect you when it's necessary, of people who would believe in the same cause that as you do. So have a company around you most of the time, especially if it's late at night. Please, please, please don't walk down the streets just alone. Have pepper spray, have whatever it is that would protect you if someone is attacking you, especially if there's a group of them. If anyone calls you, gives you a call and tries to tell you that something that and you're not feeling comfortable with that, then please be vigilant. Report it to the police, especially in Europe. Report it to the police, and that would stay on the record of the police if anything happens to you, because you never know. Today they're attacking people with egg. Tomorrow they might do something else, and also another thing is, please do not resort to violence. Protect yourself, but do not resort to violence. Do not attack them. The only thing that I would really ask you to do is self-protection, and don't go beyond that, because all they're trying to do is provoke us so that we react. And we are not a reactionary people. We are people with a vision. We are people with determination. We're people who have dreams and aspirations for the country. We're people who are trying to change the lives of other people. So we're not reactionary people. We are people who are following the vision of freedom and the rule of law and justice. And if you're a justice seeker, you need to be just with yourself as well as even with your enemy. So that's my message to my brothers and sisters who are campaigning, who are fighting this regime, and who might be a target of this regime's puppets in Europe or anywhere else. My second message to the people who are doing these actions, who are carrying these actions. One, honestly, you are cowards. You can do nothing but attack innocent people. If you have, because you lost the argument, you have nothing to fight for. You have nothing to support what you're saying. You lost the argument. And all you're doing is just resorting to violence. And violence is the weapon of the weak. Violence is the weapon of the weak. And if anything, this shows that how weak you are. You are very weak to face us. You're very weak to argue with us. You're very weak to argue with our ideas, to argue with what we say, to discredit what we say in Eritrea, because you cannot discredit it. What's happening in Eritrea is truth. Everyone knows it. You probably know it. You have been through it. You have been in prison, and now you're coming here and fighting for the regime. That is disgusting from you to do, or even act and carry yourself in that manner, because that is not how a decent, free human being should be carrying themselves out. Should be acting. That's not the way we act. Yeah. One, if you think you're gonna deter us from doing whatever it is that we're doing, from speaking out, in fact, you gave us a louder microphone now. We're gonna speak out louder and louder. People will join us. These acts would make people join the movement, the revolution, the talk against you. If anything, that is a good thing for us. And thank you for that, by the way. If you think that you're going to deter us, no. You are making us stronger. You're teaching us things, how to fight you. You're telling us that you're weak. That's why you're resorting to violence. And thanks for that. Your weakness is our strength, and our strength is your weakness. That is the equation. It's as simple as that. Your weakness, our strength, your weakness. So that is the only way that we know you are strong. You're weak because we are strong. You're resorting to violence, and resorting to violence would make us strong and stronger and stronger. A final message to the people who are sending these people. In fact, these are just nothing but messengers, and a messenger would carry out what they are asked to do. If you think, I would say, it's enough for you, 30 years, in power, leave us and our people. Just go. We don't. You know that you lost the battle. You know that you got nothing to do with the Eritrean people. You know that you got nothing to do with the Eritrean coast. And the only thing that's left for you is to leave the country. And you would definitely leave, because you're not the first person. All the regimes, all the governments, all the presidents around you had left, and you would one day leave, and you have to leave. You have got nothing. You're not a special person to live forever. You would leave. You would have to leave. So yeah. So if you think these sort of actions are going to distract us from targeting you directly and saying to you, no, that is wrong, then you're just dreaming. We won't be distracted from telling you what you're doing is wrong. We won't be distracted from standing against you. We won't be distracted from campaigning. We won't be distracted from fighting you in each and every place that we could possibly be in, be it in the Human Rights Council, be it in the United Nations, be it in the European Council, be it in Africa, in the African Union, be it in Eritrea, in Asmara. Because you now know that we are not only fighting you in these international spheres, but we are fighting you inside the country, within your own self-controlled territory. So if you think that you control Eritrea, you don't. The fight is inside in Eritrea now. And that is that is the beginning of the end for you. And we'll fight you until you fall down and you leave. We're gonna eradicate you're poison to the Eritrean nation, and we'll eradicate you. Finally, I hope those people who had been attacked, Brother Manela Sana, Brother Wadamama, and the other people, I can't recall any names at the moment, in Israel and other places. I wish you a speedy recovery, and also I wish you to rejoin us stronger and stronger. Brothers and sisters who are watching this video, please share this video and spread the word. This campaign is everyone's. It's ours. It's mine. It's yours, and it's everyone. We can't be sitting and looking at things. We can't be objects or subjects of history. We need to be objects. We need to make history. There's no such thing called history. History is the moment that you live in. If you are brave enough to stand in this moment, then this moment would pass within a few seconds and it would become history. And that is the only thing called history. So that means for you as a person who is living the current affairs, there is no such thing called history. There is a present, and if you act decently and with courage in this moment, then this moment would become history and part of your history, and also part of the history of the nation and the people that you are fighting for. I hope that message has reached those who were targeted by it, and I also hope that would add something to the discussion that is already going on about the recent incidents. I also ask everyone who is watching this video to share it, to speak to people, and our message is clear. If you are doing these actions to deter us, then you can. Your violence is a manifestation of your weakness. And your weakness is our strength. If anything, the reason you're resorting to it is just because you're weak and we're strong. And the fact that you are resorting to violence, it shows that you are weak and we're strong. And we'll stay stronger. Brothers and sisters who are watching this video from all around the world, spread the word. Be sure not to be afraid of what's happening, and also join the campaign that's happening for Eritrea, the work that's been done by the activists who are being attacked, targeted. Stay around them and make them stronger, give them company, because they need, if they're gonna do they're going to continue on doing these things that they're doing. They need your company. You cannot be a bystander. If you are a bystander, then know that your brothers and sisters are weak. If you want to make them stronger, don't be a bystander. Go and join them. Speak out and speak out louder. Have a great day and have a great afternoon and evening, everyone. I'll speak to you soon in another video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.